watching Juan Gotti Talking Sports.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with yet another Washington football team video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here to talk about, is Washington's offense good enough? So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure to go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, in this case, our Washington football team. We're so close to 3,000 subscribers. I know you guys can get me there with you guys' support, so hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't already. And lastly, like I told you guys last week, live streams are back and they are in full effect. We just had one a couple of days ago. Shout out to you if you came through. But like I said, the live streams are back just how I did them last year, last offseason with my man on the warpath. Every single week, live streams are back and you should be expecting one each and every week unless something comes up. But other than that, you should be expecting a live stream from your boy each and every single week. So you can ask me any Washington football team question you want me to, and we're just going to have a fun up until the season. And you guys know, once the season comes, I'm streaming every single game for every single week, so it's going to be a blast, and I hope to see you guys in the live streams this up and coming. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. So like I said, and as you can see by the title, I wanted to come on here and talk about Washington's offense and is it good enough to compete, because we know Washington had a massive upgrade at the offensive side of the ball this offseason, from getting Ryan Fitzpatrick. I know a lot of people don't think it's an upgrade, but let's just be real. Over all the quarterbacks we had this past year, even Alex Smith, even though he had us 5-2, I think at this point in time, with considering the fact that Alex Smith health, he is the better quarterback, that being Ryan Fitzpatrick. But obviously we know if Alex Smith was healthy, he's by far the best quarterback out of Ryan Fitzpatrick and Alex Smith. But considering the fact Alex Smith was, not really healthy last year, Ryan Fitzpatrick at this point in time in his career, he's better than him. He's obviously better than Dwayne Haskins. He's better than Kyle Allen. And honestly speaking, he is better than what we had last year. And then if you look at the wide receiver position, they had a tremendous upgrade from getting wide receiver Curtis Samuel in free agency to getting De'Ami Brown in the draft, and already adding on to our young guys that we have to led by Terry McLaurin. We getting Kevin Harmon back. Hopefully AGG can amount to something if he does make this roster. Then you still have Dax Milne, the 7th guy who a lot of people like, or the 7th round pick that a lot of people like. So more of the stories that Washington's offense got a massive upgrade. Then you go later into the draft and you draft a tight end by the name of John Bates out of Boise State. Tight end was probably the weakest position last year on the offensive side of the ball outside of wide receivers, because we didn't have nobody else to go to besides Logan Thomas. Jeremy Sprinkle was terrible, and after that you really had nobody. But now that we have John Bates, and we hopefully can see Sammis Reyes make some progress in his development. Obviously he won't be ready by the season, but hopefully in year 2 or year 3 he can amount to something, and then you can have 3 good tight ends. And then if you look at the offensive line, I know we let go of Morgan Moses, but we upgraded. We got Eric Flowers back, we got Cornelius Lucas back, obviously. Then we just got Charles Leno this offseason. And then you drafted Samuel Cosme in the 2nd round. So although we did lose Big Mo, who was phenomenal for us in his tenure here in Washington, especially when he's healthy, it's tough. But, you're going younger, and hopefully you're going better with Samuel Cosme. And then you still have a bunch of depth pieces on that offensive line, like Wes Schweitzer, or even Eric Flowers, or Sadiq Charles, whoever you want to put in there. There's so many guys you can put in there. And then even at the center position, our backup center, that being Keith Ishmael, is available to play guard on both sides. So the versatility is there. So every single position on the side of the Washington football team's offense, they got an upgrade. That was a massive focus for Ron Rivera this offseason, is upgrade the offense. He wanted to get faster, and we definitely got that with adding Curtis Samuel and De'Ami Brown. So with that being said, I wanted to, come on here, like I said, and talk about, are we good enough now to compete? And me personally, I feel like we are. And quarterback is still a big question to be answered. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Fitzpatrick or Taylor Heineke are not the long-term answers. Taylor Heineke could possibly be it, but he's already, 27, 28 years old. So he's still, young in a way, but he's also getting there up there in age, and he barely, has an NFL career. You know what I'm saying? So It's the question that still remains is quarterback. Quarterback is still yet to be fulfilled, and hopefully we can get something out of a quarterback, maybe in the draft up and coming, or we trade for one in this up and coming offseason. But outside of quarterback, I do think Washington is ready to rock and roll and compete, but I don't know if we're really there yet because once again, quarterback, the biggest position on the offensive side of the ball, is still a hole. I mean, maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick can be something, or Taylor Heineke, who I'm really pulling for, but let's just be real. Like I told you, I believe Ron Rivera has his mind made up and has his mind set on Ryan Fitzpatrick being the starter. But I mean, even with Ryan Fitzpatrick being the starter, he's coming off of his last 2 seasons being the best of his career. But at the same time, why in year 17 do we think he's just going to click and he's just going to get it? This guy never been to the playoffs, and he's just really never been that good. You know what I'm saying? He has times where he look amazing, Fitz magic. Then he obviously has times where he looks like Fitz tragic. So I'm hoping Ryan Fitzpatrick, if he is the starter, he can, be something, be a guy that's going to be able to lead this team to the playoffs. But at the same time, I can't completely, agree or, put my trust in Ryan Fitzpatrick because he doesn't have anything to show for as far as getting to the postseason. This guy never made it to the postseason, like I said, in his 17 years. And this guy's played for a gazillion teams, and he's never made it to the postseason. So in year 17, maybe it can be different, especially with this talent. I mean, I can say he's never had talent like this around him, so that is a plus with Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and everyone I named, Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick in the backfield. So his talent around him is phenomenal, and I would not be surprised if this is the year he actually does some damage and make it to the postseason. But I just can't fully put my, trust into Ryan Fitzpatrick just yet. That's why I'm pulling so heavy for Taylor Heineke, because I personally think Heineke is the guy that gives us the best chance to win, at least at some point in the season. You know what I'm saying? I would be totally fine if we started Ryan Fitzpatrick to at least start the season, and then if he looks terrible in 2 games or 3 games, then you put in Taylor Heineke. But even going to OTAs and minicamp, I know you can really take that with a grain of salt. It doesn't really mean nothing because it's no game action. But even looking at that, they already said Taylor Heineke was the most consistent quarterback out of the 2. You know what I'm saying? He was more consistent as far as completing his passes. You know what I'm saying? Not making turnovers or, making the less mistakes. So it looks like Taylor Heineke has the edge, but at the same time, Ron Rivera loves his veterans, and he's going to go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, I hope, like I keep saying, I hope it's a fair competition, but I highly doubt it. You know what I'm saying? But I do think outside of the quarterback position, Washington is ready to rock and roll. I mean, of course, yeah, you can always upgrade at these positions, but I really do think Washington can compete, and for a good spot in the playoffs or possibly even the Super Bowl, our offense is not as bad as what people are thinking. The only reason why people are looking down on this offense is because a quarterback. That's the biggest piece. So you can't really get mad at them for looking down on us because we don't have one. You know what I'm saying? We have a temporary quarterback, but we need that long-term quarterback to really be ready to compete. Our Super Bowl window is approaching. If it isn't here already, it's slowly approaching, and we need to get quarterback addressed for the long term. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we can probably have 1 year of success with Taylor Heineke or Ryan Fitzpatrick, whoever the starter is, but what happens after that? Ryan Fitzpatrick is 37, 38 years old. He isn't going to be here for another 4 or 5 years, so we need to get quarterback figured out, and once we get quarterback figured out, we're automatically a top 5 team in the NFL. I really think Washington is really ready to burst onto the scene, but we just have quarterback that's not figured out. I mean, just look at every other skill position on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line is very underrated. You know what I'm saying? Led by Brandon Sheriff and Chase Roulier, and it's really underrated in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? On the left side, you have Wes Schweitzer, Sadiq Charles, or Eric Flowers at left guard. Then the left tackle, you have Cornelius Lucas or Charles Leno, and then on the right side, you have assuming to be Samuel Cosme, and obviously all-pro Brandon Sheriff. So our offensive line is very, very underrated. Then our skill group, our wide receivers are very, very good now. You know what I'm saying? Especially with adding Curtis Samuel already to pair up with Terry McLaurin. Then you have Adam Humphries in the slot, assuming he's going to get the starting role. And then backing him up, you have Dax Mills, hopefully. And then you have De'Ami Brown coming off the bench, or even he could possibly be a starter because he's been lighting up OTAs. You see what I'm saying? We have so many weapons that we don't even know who's going to be be out there on the starting unit. The only person that I could guarantee is going to be out there in the starting unit is Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. Everything else is up for open. And even after those guys, you have Kelvin Harmon, you have Antonio Gandy Golden. So you still have a bunch of weapons that you can throw at teams. And this offense is really loaded. If you look at 2 years ago where we just had nobody on the offensive side of the ball, we just had Terry McLaurin. That's it. Now you look 2 years later, we are phenomenal on the offensive side of the ball. And once we get that quarterback, we're going to be ready to rock and roll. So I do think personally Washington's offense are good enough. I do see a lot of people comment on Washington videos and my videos saying our offense isn't quite there yet. I mean, I understand because quarterback is once again the biggest hole on this team, and that's the biggest position on in fact football. So I do understand you guys' concern with that, but other than that, I do think Washington is ready to rock and roll. So if you agree with me, let me know down below in the description, in the comment section. But if you don't agree with me, you think we're not really there yet, Juan, let me know. Because I personally think once we get that quarterback, we're going to be ready to rock and roll. And if that's your, that's your claim and saying, nah, we're not ready to rock and roll just because we don't have that QB yet, I totally understand. I do think Washington is going to have games where they put up 30, 40 points this year. But they're going to also have games where they only put up 15 and 20 just because of the quarterback position. Like I said, that's what we knew we was going to get from Ryan Fitzpatrick when we first signed him. We're going to have games where he's throwing 4 or 5 touchdowns, but then you're going to also have games where he's throwing 3, 4, 5 picks. You know what I'm saying? So that beware. And I'm pretty sure all us Washington fans, we know that, unless you're just not really in tune to Ryan Fitzpatrick and you haven't been following him over his career for the last 17 years, you don't know that he is a journeyman. He's a guy that's going to keep both teams in the game. He's going to very well give your team a chance to come in and win this game, but he's also going to give the other team a chance to win this game. He's so 50-50. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing Ryan Fitzpatrick has been his whole career, is just being a 50-50 kind of quarterback. Now, if he can limit the turnovers, if we can get 30 and 15 out of Ryan Fitzpatrick, we're good. If he can get 25 and 10 out of Ryan Fitzpatrick, we're good. If he can just turn down the turnovers this year, we're going to have a good chance of being something in the NFL and the NFC and possibly even being Super Bowl contenders. But I don't know if we're Super Bowl contenders quite yet, just because of the quarterback position. So yeah, man, it's me and boy Juan Gotti. I just want to come on here quickly to talk about the Washington football team's offense and are we good enough? Let me know what you guys think about this video down below. Do you think we're good enough or we're not quite there yet? As always, it's me and boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Hell to the Washington football team. We're so close to 3,000 subscribers. I know we can get there in no time with you guys' support. So hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't already. And also, my podcast will be dropping either today or the start of next week. So be on the lookout for that. Like, comment, subscribe. It's me and boy Juan Gotti. I'm out. Peace.
And I gotta run up a bag. These bitches be broke, I ain't chasing no ass. Try to throw the hoop and it's right off the glass. Niggas, he throwing up furs. And I'm really pouring the fours. Get off the box, I'ma open the door. Try spin the south and your shit going north. I start hearing shit like fuck the court. Yeah, I done dropped out of school. If I go to school, I'm keeping that too. Shit can get spicy, I'm feeling like poo.